Hey there everyone, this is LifeRake. Welcome to a kind of like a story mode personal video thing with the update, of course, right here at the start. That the Eternality 5 LP is probably postponed indefinitely and not going to continue. And I do have a policy for stuff that's stopped that I tend to just remove the content it was based around, because I don't like having incomplete things. It feels like kind of a tease where you watch a series and then it just never finished, so you never get a satisfying conclusion. That's kind of the state the O5 LP is on, and after this video's release, I'm probably going to unlist those videos, and you can find where they are now and unlisted in the description of this video, and probably nowhere else. And maybe I'll put it on my Twitter. But yeah, the conclusion is it's basically better that in my opinion, that the videos are hard to find, because I don't like people getting engaged with incomplete content. I did the same thing with the EO2U postgame. There was only a few videos of that, and eventually I just pulled them down. And maybe this is controversial, maybe a lot of people don't really see why I would put down, like, basically shoot the dog in the backyard with the video content. And my view is that if I'm not going to finish it, it's as I said before, I don't want people seeing an incomplete project. There's something that doesn't have a conclusion, something that really can't be satisfying ever, because it never has a good ending point. EO2U had a good ending point at the end of the main game that I could splice the series from and then discard the like 4 videos I did on EO2U. And this isn't because I want to stop doing, well, it is partially because I want to stop doing Eternality LPs in the first place that I stopped playing at all. But I think the primary message I want to get across is that I don't want to be forever locked into Eternality, not that I want to stop making videos entirely. Even though, of course, in the past more than year, I have not posted a single goddamn thing. So, other than like a few magic videos and stuff like that. So it's just, yeah, I see where this is kind of directed. Now, as for the future direction of the channel, it's probably going to be more based on games I play piecemeal, that's not a good way to put it, is it? Games that I can play in sessions. So that would be roguelike and card games, as previously seen. Like, I could do videos of Enter the Gungeon runs, or one run of X game, one run of Y game. Maybe even things like speedruns could be kind of count as that, but I don't have any, like, motivation to do one thing in particular just yet. I haven't decided where I really want to push, but I do think I want to start pushing in a direction soon. And that direction is going to be away from long-form Let's Plays. Anything that takes more than a few episodes would probably deter me now. Maybe I could get back into doing EO, but the chances, I think at this point, as evident by my lack of EO Eternality activities, that I will no longer be producing Eternality videos. And I am sorry to anyone this upsets, but I think it's quite apparent from my activity that I no longer am interested in it. Now, I have played, and when I get into story mode time later, I will tell you more about how my runs of Eternality have been going off-screen, like with Eternality Nexus, which I will not make an LP for, and if you ask, I will link you here. We'll get into that soon. Update every day, maybe update every week. I don't know how I want to approach it exactly. I want to put experimental stuff out there, but I don't want to do it without forewarning. So this is your forewarning, that I want to make experimental content, and I want to see what comes out of it. And that's the main announcement, is going forward, I will be making videos for different games outside of Eternality, with the ideas of looking into how they work single form, and with that, I think I can figure out where to go from there. But it's not going to be, it can't be a one-day switch over process. It has to take a while. So that's the main announcement taken care of. I kind of want to enter into story mode of what I've been doing for the past year, since I haven't been Let's Playing Eternauty, as is very apparent. So, when Nexus released, when was Nexus released? It was released last year, I think. Last fall 2018 is when I played Eternauty Nexus. It was a fun game, and of course my main gripe is that a good solid, like 20 of those floors are all in the same dungeon architecture that doesn't change. That was kind of a bummer, but you know, aside from that, Eternauty Nexus was a pretty fun game. I really liked the class dynamics. I really liked how, just like in Eternauty 3 and 4, you can basically build whatever the fuck team you want, and you'll have something that functions. I really like winning Eternauty games like that, when you can build anything, any team, and make it work. So I'm very happy to say that Eternauty Nexus hits that bar for me, that I can make a huge diversity of teams, and they would all function pretty well. I like that dynamic. I like it when they make that work. Eternauty 3 was the first game to make that work. I'm happy they've made Eternauty Nexus and Eternauty 4 also work that way. I think if I had to rank the Eternauty games now, I would probably come to the conclusion that Eternauty 4 is now my favorite. Though I still like Eternauty 3 a lot, but I'm thinking Eternauty 4 is my favorite. Eternauty 3 is up there, Eternauty Nexus is up there. 2 has definitely fallen down, especially EOU 2. I don't know what it is about EOU 2, I just don't like it anywhere as much as the original EO2. I like EO2 more, and that's weird coming from the fact that that is the most unbalanced game in all of Eternauty history. So, I don't know. I don't know why I'm like that now. I'm pretty sure I have mentioned how much I've liked each of the Eternauty games before, and maybe how I'm listing them off now is different from how I listed them off before, so there's going to be like a lack of consistency, but I've changed in the past several years. So my new listing is probably EO4 is greater than EO3, which is greater than EON, which is greater than EO2, which is greater than both of the Untold games, which is better than EO1. That is probably my list. I may have missed a game there. Did I? Oh, EO5 exists, right. I'm putting Eternauty 5 closer to the bottom than to the top. Can't say exactly why, it just doesn't grip me the same way the other Eternauty games do. It's fine. I like the different races and how you can build different teams with those races. I just don't like I'm really stumbling on myself here, because that's the LP I just quit, but EO5 doesn't grip me the same way the other way Eternauties do. So it's definitely closer to the bottom with the EOUs. As for why I don't like the EOUs, A, Grimoire system, B, to me, it doesn't truly feel like Eternauty when I play the Untold games, both in story mode and in their classic modes. It's just, it doesn't feel like an Eternauty game. You can have things on characters that aren't supposed to be on characters. The Grimoire system, by its nature, just doesn't make it feel right to me. That anything can do anything it's a little too much. Even with subclasses, you can do a lot, but there's still limits. There's still some things your team is going to be bad at, right? But with Grimoires and stuff, that flies out the window, and suddenly anyone can do anything. It's not a dynamic that I like. In EO, the first EOU, the super boss was fine. I think I appreciate EOU's post-game content a little more than its main game content. So there's that. Also, I really liked EOU's story mode. So if of the EOUs, EOU1 is the one I favor, but it still just doesn't feel quite right. I finally found the incinerator after bumbling around for the past 10 minutes. So that's fun. stumbling on myself here. I'm so sorry, I haven't done LP talk in, like, ages, so I'm going to stumble on myself. EON was fun. I really liked it. I liked that it felt like an Eternauty game again. It didn't feel like the Untold games where all characters can do everything. It's more that now each character absolutely has things it's good and bad at. I like that. It's nice. No one's reaching too far into what other classes can do, so you can have a nice balanced team. And of course, because there's a huge diversity in classes, but just about any team you compose just accidentally has what you need in it. So you can accidentally have a healer, or accidentally have a DPS when your team otherwise has none, just because one of your characters may have an incidental skill that incidentally heals or something like that. Or you can use equipment that has skills on it. And I really like equipment skills too, because being able to have first aid and stuff in that sense was really nice. Eternauty Nexus, I really liked the throwbacks to all the other first 4 games. The dungeon variety was really nice. It's like 2 from each game. It felt good to explore places. It was really fun to fight Narmer again, even though Earthquake is a little bit bullshit and his name isn't Narmer anymore. I really liked the post-game for EON. It, as I said, felt like an Eternauty game. I don't like that the dungeon was pretty weak, in my opinion. I do like the puzzles and the elements introduced. I just wish they'd get the hell away from the, oh, you climb on top of the stage. It basically made the maps 2 times longer, and I felt like that was unnecessary. Even in EO3, the post-game dungeons could be pretty long, because they could arrange the slippery tiles in a way, for example, that you would have to retrack the same path multiple times, and that artificially increased the length of the dungeon, but I got tired of the going on top of the stage to do things gimmick, and I think they should have found another one for the post-game dungeon, a new gimmick for the post-game dungeon. Even EO3 and EO4 did things with the post-game dungeon. It feels like the other Eternauties did not. EO2 used Mist mechanic was pretty fun, kinda. Tracking down those bulbs I think was dumb to a certain extent, but I understood why it was there. Is there no bodies back here? Oh yeah, of course there is. So yeah, overall I enjoyed EON. It's probably one of my favorite. It is absolutely one of my favorites due to what you can do in it. EO3 and EO4 are still I'm still very happy with, and all of that. Now, to step away from Eternauty, let's talk about what else I've been doing. So, the other games I've been playing over the course of the past while, other than card games, because I primarily play those, I've been primarily playing, like, Streets of Rogue, Enter the Gungeon, stuff like that. Things where I can just do a session and chill. I really like games like that. I would have to peek at my Steam library to tell you more, but I know I've recently bought, yesterday I bought the Saints Row games. Those have been like my entry into the Grand Theft Auto type games, and I kind of like it. It's kind of fun. I like goofing around. I don't like combat or anything, so I'm setting the difficulty to the lowest possible, because I don't really care for the shooting. But I really like driving around. I don't so much like the actual facilities of Grand Theft Auto games. I just like driving around pointlessly. That's what I really like. It's because I really liked the Need for Speed games when I was a kid. The Need for Speed games, my favorite thing to do in them was not to race. That's the whole point of the game. It's not what I played the game for. I played the game to drive the cars around the map. That's all I did. That's all I needed. It's what I really like about racing and like open world games with cars, is just drive around the map, have a cool time. I really like that. That said, in Saints Row, from what I've been playing the past few days, it's fun. Like shooting the things and killing the bad guys and doing the missions, it's fun. The game is really fun. I like the references and stuff. It's nice, but what I really just want to do is just drive around and just do nothing. Learning how to modify the damn radio in that game has taught me that games really just need to allow you to put in whatever music you want. But iTunes is also a thing I do, so I just have iTunes open in the background, and whenever I get into a car, just pop over to iTunes and play the music. The beauty of having more than one monitor is really extreme. Anyways, aside from that, recently been playing... Oh, what else have I been playing? Besides ecchi games, guess it's probably best I don't talk about those. I would have to peek at my Steam library, and I don't want to open something other than Viscera Cleanup Detail. I have been playing Viscera Cleanup Detail, as you can tell. I just like playing this game. I don't know. Hard to explain. As for other things I've been doing in the past 2018 and to the end of... When did I stop playing Eternauty 5? The beginning of 2018? So for the rest of 2018 I was basically just doing whatever I wanted, and that was fine. I probably could have made videos in that time, but I just at some point decided that I was too attached to Eternauty to break away. And I'm finally taking a stance that I can probably get away from Eternauty now. I can probably pretty easily just break away from Eternauty. Not because I don't like Eternauty, but because I really want to play other games. Even if it's that idea, it's the idea of that single session games that I really like. Like, one day I can play Magic, next day I can play Risk of Rain, the next day I can play... The idea is I want to be able to play whatever I want, and I can attach a numbered series to it. So like day 1, X, day 2, X, day 3, X. Some days I can do the same game multiple times in a row, some days it'll just be different game. That's what I kind of want to evolve into, just a whatever I want kind of channel. And I don't have to be serial. The main idea is I don't want to have another serial series, at least not of a long game. But just a game where the idea is you just play X rounds of it. You know, I like that idea. The idea of playing temporary games. Well, not temporary games, just games that are single session. Like Viscera Cleanup Detail here. It's single session. I can totally clean an entire map in one session. Ha 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 ha. Not really, but like other games, I just like peeking around, seeing what I can do. I'm not here to take games too seriously. I've never been one to take games too seriously. Oh, I guess I did want to talk about it, so let's segue into competitive games. Or PvP games, or games where you compete with the other guy to do the thing. For me especially, I wanted to talk about this for a while, because in the past I have made videos of me playing said PvP games, mostly in the form of card games, but if you're old enough and have been with me long enough, you remember that I may have released videos with World of Tanks in it, and that's because World of Tanks was probably my first like PvP game that I played extensively outside of card games. But so competitive games, bullet point 1. I've been playing them for a while, and I've determined that I only like a certain kinds of PvP. So the primary kind of PvP is turn-based PvP. God, this is so hard to say. I don't like action-based PvP, but it's a weird complex because I have liked action PvP before, but only in the form of World of Tanks. And that's kind of where I want to get into, because I think that dynamic is interesting. And if you're still here, I love you, by the way. Please say that you love me back. Okay, anyways. World of Tanks was the first PvP game that it's actually not. No, it is. So before World of Tanks, PvP games were like non-existent to me, because I would normally just be playing on my Game Boy Advance or DS when I was younger. However, when I was on the computer, I remember I would play a game called Gunbound, but that's turn-based, and so... Gunbound, does it really count? It doesn't feel like it counts. So, like, early MMOs wise, like, Gunbound was kind of fun, Penya was kind of fun, but it was, as I said, it was never action, it was always turn-based. That would make World of Tanks my first turn-based PvP game. Maybe I played a real-time strategy game before? I don't remember. Don't remember. Not gonna think about it too hard. I really need to figure out what I'm doing on this map, by the way. I'm just kind of walking around picking up things randomly. It's not very efficient. So, World of Tanks was my first PvP game, and that was back in 2010? hang on. 2012, right? It was after I graduated from... Was it 2011, 2012? Anyways, that was my first PvP game, and I actually really liked that game for a specific reason, but eventually I stopped playing it because I was getting too competitive, and that's the main thing I wanted to talk about, is when I get too competitive with games, it becomes destructive. That's the main reason I quit most PvP games, is when I'm getting too involved in it. And here's the story of why I don't like being competitive in PvP games. So, in World of Tanks, I was particularly attached to the French tree when it was first released. So much so that I got really good at bad tanks. I'm talking ARLV-39 bad tanks. And what I would do is I'd get invested in these tanks because they were bad. For some reason, I'm really drawn to things that are considered bad because I want to try to see if I can play them good. And what ended up happening is I got really good at the tank called BDR-G1B. And I played so many games in that tank. It boggles my mind to this day. The idea behind this tank is it basically has no armor. It has a big gun attached to it that basically estimated a lot of things in 2 to 3 shots if they were lower tier than you. And otherwise it was just kind of a derpy tank with a pretty okay health pool. But I got really good at it. I also got really good at the ALC to the point where my win rates in World of Tanks were spiking above 55%. And that, when I started paying too much attention to my stats, is I think when I would destroy myself over losing, even though I was winning more than I was losing. It's a weird complex, right? So, I would get so fixated on winning games that every time I won, it was barely a buzz, but every time I lost, it was like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. You, or your family, or anything. That's how attached I got to World of Tanks and other PvP games. That's the extent at which I get attached to. And that's not it's not a good relationship to have with games at all. So that's why I steer away from PvP games almost entirely nowadays, unless it's card-based. I especially like it when I can talk with the person across the table, so that I need to be assured that it is a chill environment before I play. Even when I'm playing Magic Arena or Shadowverse, I get too attached to the competitive aspect of the game, and I kind of just need to learn how to chill. So that's why I favor less and less PvP games as time passes. I'm sure there was supposed to be a story to this, but I kind of just ended up spitting out the facts before getting to any kind of like juicy story bits. But that's kind of like the segment on competitive games and why I stopped playing those. That said, those competitive games also happen to be really good targets for like single segment video. And that's why I'm thinking about this and saying it out loud, is that I don't know where to really take it. As a human being, I don't know where to take anything really, just like every other human being on this damn planet Earth. Does anyone really know what they're doing? No. I'm pretty sure people can be vaguely guided to do things, but I don't think anyone truly knows what the hell they're doing. But that's kind of why I haven't spit it out. It's like, okay, so I want to evolve into this kind of single segment deal, but I don't want to really get too involved into player versus player. I could theoretically play World of Tanks again, but I don't remember my credentials for that game at all, so I'd have to start over from the start, basically. Which isn't too big of a deal. I was pretty much free to play the first time, but the idea is I want to see if any of you guys have opinions on how to not take PvP games too seriously. The main idea that's rolling through my head is I just need to not look at my statistics. I think the moment I start looking at my statistics, I would get too involved in trying to better them. That's what I think, but I don't know if that works, so I want to know if anyone who has experience with not looking at their statistics can tell me how they feel about their performance in an online ranking environment. That seems like a weird question to ask people, so if you're answering my questions, like, just kind of don't enter in your full answer, but wait until the end of the video after I've potentially asked all my questions before you submit your answer. That's probably it, because I'm going to ask more questions, because this is kind of unintentionally also a survey, but I won't say that out loud too hard, will I? That's okay. So anyways, right now the main idea behind this single segment thing is I don't want to play any game with a story if it's going to last like more than 3 episodes or so, right? And let's say an episode is 20 minutes or an hour. Like, it depends on the game. Like, say a Risk of Rain run can take 45 minutes, right? It could also take 5 hours, but ideally I just obliterate myself early on so we don't reach the 5-hour point or something like that, right? So one game is I wanted to try in this format is Risk of Rain. Another one would be I could probably just, like, Viscera Cleanup Detail, just do a level in Viscera Cleanup Detail, or just do a level in X game, XYZ puzzle game. Maybe do like an area in The Witness. I don't know. I have a lot of options here. That's why I wanted to move into this. Even if I'm not entirely sure why or what I'm going to do, I think single session ideas can be easily stretched, especially if you start including, like, stupid things like Flash games. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever really want to do Flash games, but it's not, like, out of the realm either. Or, once again, maybe I'm being delusional and I should just move to shorter games and not long form. So, Edge of Honesty is very long form. Maybe I can get away with doing 10-hour games that will only take, 15 episodes or something, instead of these Edge of Honesty LPs that last for 50. I don't know. Maybe that would be better. Maybe I'm better off moving to short form LPs involving shorter stories and shorter games. I don't know. Maybe not. So it's working both ways. At the beginning of this video, I announced that I wanted to do the single session version, but I'm also not against, like, just doing shorter form LPs. Like, instead of doing, like, the single session thing where every day is like episode 1, daily thing episode 1, daily thing episode 2, daily thing episode 3. And maybe instead of doing that, I can just do, like, Viscera Cleanup episode 1, and then not make a Viscera Cleanup detail for a while, but when I do, I can just label it Viscera Cleanup detail episode 2, etc., etc. That could also work, but I'm not sure if that's the approach I want to make. Likewise, this means I could LP shorter games. For example, Rabby Ribby is not a long game. I could probably do a short form LP of that game. In fact, I've wanted to LP Rabby Ribby and other Metroidvanias for a while now, even if I haven't really made the first steps to make that possible. The idea is that this video is a way to break that mold that I'm supposed to be an Edge of Honesty LP and thus I can only play dungeon crawl games. No. I think I've actually already broken that mold, but I'm always scared that I haven't. Like, it's an irrational fear that I think you guys wouldn't appreciate a non-Edge of Honesty video. When really, maybe I should just take the damn risk already since it's been so long. I don't know. So, there's another question, is daily thing, like, would you prefer something like a daily thing episode 1, 2, 3, and every, like, as I go on, like, just continue to expand it regardless of what game I'm playing, or should I label individual games I'm playing? I don't know. But the idea is I'm not going to stick to, well, it depends on if I do short form LPs. If I do short form LPs, the way I'm going to want to do it is I'm going to want to do just that game. So, Rabby Ribby 1, 2, 3, sequential order, nothing in between. Versus, like, just, here's a video of Viscera Cleanup Detail, here's a video of Risk of Rain, here's a video of the original Risk of Rain, here's a video of of Enter the Gungeon, here's a video of XYZC. See how it's different? So, I don't know what people would prefer. Maybe that's just something I have to test, but asking here, I think, has the double benefit of saying, like, hey man, what do you guys already have a preference? I want to hear it. And this is such a weird video, because I'm not even going to finish cleaning this map before this video is over. I just kind of wanted to dump my thoughts out there into something I don't have to heavily edit too much. I'm probably still going to look through this video, edit it, and think that I'm a piece of shit, but I knew that already. So, maybe I don't have to be scared of it.